Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more Fortnite news. Going to be short and simple for all of you, as of course yesterday we wrapped up North American Winter Royale Finals, and it was easily, hands down, the worst Fortnite event I have ever seen in my entire life. I want to preface by saying it is not the pro players' fault whatsoever, and I'm sure you guys can imagine why. If you guys were spectating your favorite pro players out there, I know Chap was streaming, other people were doing viewer parties, and of course the mainstream as well was kind of focusing on people who were farming and people who were away from the main fights. It was not the best spectator event we've seen so far, and it was also hands down the worst gameplay I've ever watched in the history of Fortnite so far. It's short history, that being said. Now, first of all, I do want to also say congrats to Nolan. He was the winner of the entire event. So far, he's had a great resume for only being 18 years old. Nolan Lol, I'll link his Twitter down below, guys, did come away with the first place prize. Now, it could be argued he could have been, outdone for that first place. We'll talk about that in a bit here. Nonetheless, though, guys, he's your North American Winter Royale Grand Final champion. Alongside that, also a Fall Skirmish finalist as well at TwitchCon, so he has a great resume. He's also now a free agent, and I cannot wait to see what this guy can do. He has certainly proven himself to be among the top players in Fortnite, but that's not the main issue here, guys. The main issue being Epic allowing the sword as well as planes into the game, and it seriously destroyed the entire event. And I really want you guys to, if you want to comment down below what you thought about this, it just was not entertaining whatsoever and not fun to watch. And again, I want to preface, it was not the pro player's fault. If you're a pro player and you get the sword, of course you're going to use it. I mean, you even watched Chap's stream, guys. He had the sword one round. Of his 4 points, he got 3 of those points in his one game. He actually landed on the sword and eventually got it. You can't blame him, but during his gameplay, he literally said, quote unquote, he felt sick to his stomach. But when there's $500,000 in prize pool on the line, if you get the sword, you better believe you're going to use it. Alongside that, guys, countless pro players, it seemed to be throughout the entire tournament, there was a peace treaty up in the air. The pro players who actually got to planes, they flew them the entire game into the final circle and then finally landed. But beyond that, though, there was a peace treaty. There was a no-fire agreement. Rarely did you see any plane fights out there because pro players kind of understood, right? If I shoot down this plane, then someone might shoot down me, and it was kind of an all-in-the-air agreement that if you got a plane, you left other planes alone, which made it all the more boring. I mean, there were so many AFK times I would leave a stream, come back 10 minutes later, and they were still circling with the planes in the midair. Now, along that though, of course, the biggest issue being the sword glitch. Of course, the big issue being the sword, the Infinity Blade in the game in itself was one thing. It was absolutely crazy to see in pro play how overpowered this sword truly is. I mean, yes, we had several pro players not take it slow enough and eventually die with it, but the amount of kills they got with it is undeniable. Pretty much every streamer out there, every pro player out there who got the sword as they closed in on the final circle could take out any individual they wanted to. Where they ran into trouble was when they got to the final circles, and of course everyone started teaming up on them if they broke their builds, which again was kind of a rarity. But besides that, though, I did feel bad for 2 main people out there which cost themselves some big results. The first being Misfit Sheep. If you guys didn't know, the sword glitch going on right now is currently when, of course, you're in your leap, you're supposed to be immune to fall damage, and at least two times we caught publicly so far, it was actually Sheep who died with this late game. It was top 25 players, and certainly probably cost him at least a point or two, and definitely dropped in the placements quite a bit. So I'll show you guys Misfit Sheep clip. Alongside that, even bigger news is 72 Hours. You guys know him as Tom, one of the funniest guys out there. I think really handled the situation very well because it actually cost him the entire tournament. A similar situation as well to that of Sheep. He was jumping with his leaping function, which are supposed to be immune to fall damage, and he simply died after the actual, of course, the whole function was done being set in play. So I'll show you guys both those clips right now, back to back.
Sui just lucks out. He slipped through that build.
This is where you use those rockets. Oh, he eliminated himself.
No.
Did he die from the bug?
Sheep took out Sheep, dude.
Did he just die from the bug?
Sheep beats Sheep.
Yikes.
Reddit, who goes, oh yeah, bro, so what it is, I replicated it. If you're looking down, that's when it happens. But I'm not looking down. I'm looking right up. I have a perfect arch. This would have been a 3-point swish. Look at this. Look at that. You know how free this rotate would have been?
And does this ring any bells to all of you? Yes, it should, because remember Nate Hill at the TwitchCon finals for Fortnite Fall Skirmish. Remember the redeploy. It was not fully bug fixed. He at one point had thought he had redeployed, although on the spectator it looked like he was just falling in midair. He eventually fell to his death. If you're going to deploy such absurd updates like these, at least do the pros a favor of bug fixing them, because it's not these guys' fault that they lost several placements, and especially when it comes to Tom's situation, this legitimately did cost him the #1 spot. Yes, he was 1 point behind Nolan, but you can easily see the amount of players he could have killed, guys. Easily would have made up those points and had definitely been a tie, if not the victory. And yes, that cost him tens of thousands of dollars because of a glitch they put into the game. Now, you could also, I guess you could see it for the point of, okay, if you got a sword, you were lucky enough to have the sword in the first place, but that if it's in the game and he got it, he shouldn't be dying to glitches that are not of his own fault. So all in all, guys, the planes, the sword, I hope we come back next week and see this as an LTM. The planes are super fun. I agree. As a casual player, they're super fun. Maybe not even a huge issue, although they're kind of the only counter to the sword right now, except for having other allies or enemies be your allies when turning on the swords guy. But the sword has to go. It's absolutely insane what this thing is doing, and it's also crazy to see. You thought the sword was overpowered in terms of casual play. It's even more so in pro play, because I think it was a really good point made by Tim the Tatman and Ninja and those guys during their streams. When you're building up 1x1s or you're in pro play and near the final circle, you're not going to be peeking constantly to shoot the sword guy because you expose yourself. So a lot of pro players are boxed up, and this guy in the sword can just go around, jump around everywhere, and kill everyone individually. It was just so stupid. But again, congrats to all the guys. It was still, honestly, it was decently fun to watch when it came down to final circle. I felt bad for people like Chap. I felt bad for people like Vivid and 72. I mean, pretty much feel bad for all the pros who participated because they made the finals and they got screwed over either way. Although throughout the, of course, qualifying rounds, you noticed we already had planes and sword gameplay. It was going to be hectic no matter what. Snood was up there, Ghoul was up there, Vivid and the boys were up there as well. A lot of top 50 names you guys do know, but this being the first online tournament, it was pretty poorly done. I expect some more in the future, and I cannot wait to see, because it's also great to see no names you did not know before finally kind of solidify their names as well. So again, congrats to everyone. But on top of that, guys, very lastly in Fortnite news, it's a pretty serious issue, as apparently over in China, they are reviewing several games out there to actually ban from the entire country, and this is not being talked about too much. It's actually the Ethics Review Committee for the Chinese government, as based off several reports out there, are apparently planning to ban several top games: PUBG, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, I don't know if you guys play that, but and also Fortnite, which is crazy. It goes on a list as well, because what's mostly absurd about this is, apparently, according to reports out there, the Ethics Committee is now apparently reviewing Fortnite to potentially be banned in China based off, you won't believe it, blood and gore. I don't understand how these things become possibilities. I don't know if they've ever played Fortnite. I know you guys obviously do. There's no blood in Fortnite. Arguably no gore either. I mean, and what's craziest about this is actually currently under review is also League of Legends, which is huge in the Asian scene, mostly Korean scene, but still they're trying to establish a Chinese scene. This would definitely put a rest to that. And also huge, because I come from the CSGO scene as well, they allow CSGO in China, which actually has blood animations, which actually has way more gore and violence than Fortnite probably ever will, guys, which is insane to see. They allow CSGO, but they won't allow a cartoon game Fortnite, which doesn't show any blood. I'm very confused. Of course, we'll have updates for all of you guys hopefully by next week. I'm going to probably not have any Fortnite news for all of you guys tomorrow. I've complained way too much this week. Thank you all for the great feedback on yesterday's episode, where we talked about 3 times that Epic has proven that Fortnite is not an esport, and they continued on this path so far. If not next week, guys, hopefully sometime soon, we will see the sword put out of the game, maybe to an LTM. We will see the plane taken out, and we can finally go back to a great Season 7, which I hope you guys are all enjoying. But I'm going to leave you guys with one clip as well. I'll see you back here Monday, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, my name is Jake. Shing, shing.
He's Thanos in the game. Sing, 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 sing. Why is that in the game? Sing, sing. I wasted like 700 mats on that kid. He didn't get shot once. He's flying around the f***ing map with his sword. This is sing, sing, sing.